All right, y'all. First and foremost, give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and his son, Hamashiach, who some call Yahweh Shai, Yeshua, Yehoshua. We mostly know as Jesus Christ. I want to do we just want to go do a reading today. You know, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. It's so many. 1 Samuel, chapter 1 and chapter 2. Just 2 chapters, y'all. Can you hang out with me for 2 chapters? And just dive into the word. Let's just read. And I'm starting to agree with the methodology of teaching with the Torah portions of you know, everybody being on one assignment and, you know, dealing with a portion of the book every Sabbath until we get through the book. Instead of us jumping all over the places, gleaning here, gleaning there, I think we just need to get through the book. We just need to sit down and read, and we have to build brothers and sisters that are in the body, that are in Christ, you know, build them the appetite of, you know, reading. Blessed is he who readeth. But let's go ahead and get into this, all right? And there's so many lessons here, man. This is, you know, if y'all hang out here, you know, this is, you're going to see some stuff, man, that you may not have seen because you just read through it so quickly. It says, now there was a certain man, 1 Samuel 1:1, there was a certain man of Raphmathaim Zophim. Y'all bear with me with these names. I'm finna tear them up. Give me grace with these names. Raphmathaim Zophim of Mount Ephraim. And his name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, and the son of Elihu, and the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, and Ephraimite, not an Ephraimite, a Ephraimite. And he had 2 wives. The name of one was Hannah, and the name of the other Penninah. And Penninah had children, but Hannah had no children. All right. And a lot of times in these situations, you're going to see sisters crying out. Sisters, you see these multiple wives situations. Sometimes it's an issue with one having kids, the other not having kids. You see that a few different times within the text. And this man went up out of his city yearly to worship and to sacrifice unto the Lord of hosts in Shiloh. And the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, the priests of the Lord, were there. Another thing to glean from that Elkanah is going up yearly. It's only going up once a year, and he's doing a sacrifice to worship and to give a sacrifice. All right. He ain't going to no synagogue every Sabbath. He ain't going on Shabbat. He's going once a year. All right. That's what the text is saying. He's going once a year to worship and give a sacrifice. He's going there yearly. And this man went out of the city yearly to worship and to sacrifice unto the Lord of hosts in Shiloh, and 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, the priests of the Lord, were there. And when the time was that Elkanah offered, he gave Penninah his wife and to all her sons and her daughters portions. All right, you know that when someone gives an offering, that the priest get a little bit, and the family, and then everybody eats off of this offering. But unto Hannah he gave a worthy piece, for he loved Hannah. but the Lord had shut up her womb. And her adversary also provoked her sore, for to make her fret, because the Lord had shut up her womb. Who was her adversary? Her adversary also provoked her. Her adversary was Penninah, her sister wife. Just like we seen with Sarah and Hagar. Hagar took a little jab. And see, when I glean from the text, I don't have to know, I teach against polygamy, but, brothers is dealing with it. Brothers is dealing, I say he had a situation here, they agreed on it, and then they wanted counsel. Y'all know I don't teach that, but, I still had to counsel them on, on their agreement. They made an agreement. Hey, you knew what it was. That's what it, but they start running into some of these issues. And I don't have to, I don't have to see inside of your life. Brothers don't really show their wives and shit. Or if they do show them, they show them all together, hooked up, and everybody love everybody. But I know that them sisters is in there provoking each other, poking at each other, taking little jabs. Why do I know that? Because it's in the text. Because it's in the text. And Elkanah is trying to balance that with giving Hannah a bigger portion. I'm like, I love you, but Penninah has the other wife. She has the kids, and he love his kids, and he around his kid. That's one of the greatest things that a real boy wife can give to her husband is a son, especially a child, but especially a son. And so she gets poked at. And so he's trying to balance this. He's trying to fix this situation. And this is what you got to know. You trying to go into that lifestyle that you're going to have to balance these situations. You're going to have to be level-headed enough. You're going to have to be austere enough to be able to balance these situations, because one may feel this way, the other may be down in the slump. All right. And you kind of gotta, then if you got 3, 4, it may be up and down, and you gotta get all these levels. You gotta kind of keep all these jokers and all these sisters. I ain't calling them jokers. I'm trying, y'all be graceful with me. Trying to level all these folks on the same level emotionally. And these folks have all that, and it can drain you. It can drain you. And I don't have to go through it. I don't have to be in no polygamous marriage to know that. I see it in the text. I see it here. Where we at, y'all? Verse 6, it says, and her adversary also provoked her sore, for to make her fret, because the Lord had shut up her womb. And as he did so year by year, when she went up to the house of the Lord, so she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat. And see, even with him trying to balance it out and give Hannah, a portion or a worthy portion, Penninah even looked at that just a little bit to take a jab. Man, sisters are petty. Sisters are petty like that, man. Look over there to still take a little jab. And like, are them your kids? Them ain't everybody's kids. That sister labored 9 months, them her kids. You can't just grab them kids when you want to grab them kids. It does, that's what you got to deal with. But brothers willing to, okay. And as he did so year by year, when she went up to the house of the Lord, so she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat. Then said Elkanah, her husband, to her, Hannah, why weepest thou? And why eatest thou not? And why is thy heart grieved? And see, a lot of times we thinking, hey, that worked that year, And so we'll continue to do it. When we get up there, I'm just gonna give her a bigger piece, and it made her, it made her complacent, last year, and we'll continue to do it. We won't change nothing up. Hey, we got rid of that problem. I think we done with the problem, but that's not the case. Now she's at a point where she don't even want to eat that worthy portion. She don't want to eat it this year. And so year by year, she went up to the house of the Lord. So she was provoked. Therefore, she wept and did not eat. Then said Elkanah, her husband, unto her, Hannah, why weepest thou? Why eatest thou not? And why is thy heart grieved? Am not I better than 10 sons? Why you got me? Why you grieved? I thought you wanted a son to please me. I'm telling you, it's okay. You don't have to, but that's not enough for sisters. It's not enough. They're social creatures. This is social. They thrive in a social hierarchy. They gotta be in these social clubs. They gotta be, and that even goes back to the woman at the well who had 5 husbands. Maybe she was barren. Why she at the well at that part of the day? The sisters usually go first thing in the morning before daybreak. They at that well. But she don't want to be around because, in those times, you were considered cursed if your womb was shut like that. You was demonic. Something was wrong with you. Sisters didn't really deal with you like that. You ain't got no kid. Man, that womb must be closed. You married, no kids, that womb closed. Something wrong with you. I need to stay away from you. And will make mockery and will provoke. This is why you have the situation in what is that? Isaiah 3? I think it's Isaiah 3. Y'all know what I'm talking about, where and 7 women would take the whole of one man. It's Isaiah 3, Isaiah 4. Only to take this reproach away from me. All right, and that reproach is, the barrenness and not having a husband. Those things were mocked. It was a reproach in those times. Not so in today's society, but very much so in those times. So yeah, Elkanah is at a point now where he's, hey man, ain't I good enough? Why it shouldn't I be worth more than 10 sons? And it's not about you. Man, a lot of these sisters is not dressing up. They not half naked for men. These sisters out here in the world dressing like a lot of that stuff come from drag queens with these long lashes and this full face of makeup every day. And dressing like a harlot out here every day on your daily wear, that come from drags out there on the strip. That's what they're mimicking, and that's why I say they got some fascination with effeminate leadership. That's why a lot of black women have this one gay male that's always around them, they're just kicking the bubble. Anyway, men think that we the prize, and that they doing it for us, and they not. Even though we tell them, hey man, we don't need that. We don't need you going over there getting that BBL with the square booties. We don't want that. But they don't care. They're not doing it for us. They're doing it for them. They're doing it for their social circle. If they saying this is what's cool to wear, that's what's cool to wear. You telling your wife, hey, I want you in a long skirt. She like, well, nah, I don't want to wear the long skirt. You like, baby, you beautiful in the long skirt. And man, you look so beautiful, but it ain't, she don't feel the same because of that social circle. It's not giving that same reverence. So Elkanah is trying to figure this thing out. The husband is trying to figure this thing out, man. What's wrong with you? And a lot of times you're going to have these situations. You thinking you having a good day. Brothers thinking they having a good day. And then one of your wives is just in the rinker and finna tear it up. We just seen this situation. I don't know if y'all know that brother. It's a brother named Finesse 2 times. He has 2 women. He's openly living a poly life. And it's just chaotic. The sister done stepped out, had a baby on him. One of the sisters stepped out, and he a rapper. He a famous rapper. All right, millions of dollars. One of the sisters done stepped out, and he done brought her back, and she had the baby, and found out the baby ain't even his. And also, it was one point he was talking to him. He was like, well, why are you always down? You always just bring the whole house down. Everything be good. Everybody laughing at you. But it's always one or 2 that's in there just down about something. And you can't figure it out. Where is it coming from? And it really ain't nothing you can do. Especially even in this situation. Verse 9. So Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and she don't want to tell you. She really don't want to tell you. Sometimes because they probably shouldn't be mad about it, but it's still making her feel some kind of way. She feel like she shouldn't be mad about it because she knew what this situation was. She knew you was living the poly life. She shouldn't be mad, but it's still hurting her. It's still riling up her flesh. But she can't complain about it because that's what she signed up for. So Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon the seat by a post of the temple of the Lord, and she was in bitterness of soul. Bitterness, we've been talking about that that bitterness and how it'll defile you, and how nobody will ever admit that they bitter. You ain't try to find a YouTube video with somebody coming up, so you know what, man, I was bitter, I repent. Nobody will ever say they in bitterness. But she was in bitterness of the soul. Bitter, and prayed unto the Lord and wept sore, crying out. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but will give unto thy handmaid a man child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. And this too, brothers going in about the man, you need to cut your hair, da, 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 da. But we see in the text that somehow this growing of your hair, somehow this not cutting your hair, with the Nazareth vow, with Samson, and then too there are some, even this can be a whole lesson on the significance of growing your hair. And this is something I probably need to research before I say something, but we see here, there's something to it, but I need to research it more before I speak on it. I think that's a lesson that we can get into one day. Verse 12, and it came to pass, and if some of my Hebrew scholars, some of y'all know, man, put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. What do you think? What do you put some verses in there, some precepts. Put them in the comments, so we can be edified on that, man. So we'll know where to search. Verse 12. And it came to pass that she continued praying before the Lord, that Eli marked her mouth. What does it mean? He marked her mouth. He's watching her moving her lips. He's trying to read what she's saying. Like he don't hear nothing coming out, but her lips are moving. Now Hannah, let me just, because what verse is that? 1 Samuel 12:13. What does it mean? He marked her mouth. Let's look at it in the NLT. Oh man, I said Samuel's 12. We need 2. No, we need verse 1. Chapter 1. I'm tripping. And she was praying. There we go, right here. She was praying, and Eli watched her, seeing her lips moving but not hearing the sound. He thought that she had been drinking. All right. Now Hannah, she spake in her heart. Only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she had been drinking. She had been drunken. And this is a note here also, that sometimes your prayer, sometimes that cry out, you can't worry about how you look. You can't worry about how crazy you may sound, how crazy you may look when you praying and crying out to the Lord. Brothers be wanting to hold that stuff in, and I ain't gonna cry, we finna fight it, and sisters be trying to not mess up their mascara and mess up their makeup. What do y'all think the text is saying? These jokers is literally throwing dirt on them and taking off their clothes and putting on burlap. Basically potato sacks. They don't care how they look. Is putting yourself in complete humility. Not worrying about how you look, not worrying about how you sound, not worried about what people thinking about you, only crying out to the Lord. Trying to get a response, trying to be heard, trying not to be forgotten. Hannah said, Lord, don't forget thy handmaiden. Verse 14, and Eli said unto her, how long wilt thou be drunken? Put away thine wine from thee. Eli giving correction. Get your drunken butt out. What? How long you gonna be out here drunk? Hannah answered and said, no, my Lord. I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord. Count not thine handmaiden for a daughter of Belial. Hold on to that. What is a daughter of Belial? All right. This is a wicked person. Okay. This is pretty much an ad hominem of a wicked person, or anybody that's just doing basically a daughter of Satan, or a daughter of Baphomet, or a daughter of Baal. Count not the handmaiden the daughter of Belial, for out of the abundance of my complaint and grief have I spoken hitherto. Then Eli answered and said, go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him. And she said, let thine handmaid find grace in thy sight. So the woman went her way and did eat, and her countenance was no more. Sometimes, listen, man, her countenance was no more sad. Sometimes you gotta release. You sisters, when you in those situations, you got that bitterness of sorrow on you. Sometimes you gotta go into that prayer closet and release. That even that it bring me back to that moment. That sister was Keon something. That pastor named Keon Sanders. He done went viral again for telling people don't give to the poor. The poor ain't gonna the giving to the poor ain't gonna multiply your funds. You gotta get tied for multiplication. I started to do a video on, I still may. But That brother had shushed the choir, one of the choir leaders. He went back there, he looked, he was trying to do the prayer. I give my life. And she was back there hollering. She was crying, And he came and said she had a pattern of that. So it could have been obsessive, but sometimes that cry out may be like that. You don't know what people going through. It's like the woman who was washing, Christ's feet with her tear. You don't know what people done been brought out of. You don't know people's testimony. And sometimes you may need that. Sometimes you may need that holler out like that sister was hollering. Ah! Anyway, but she did that, and there was the point we was looking at here. Her conscience was no longer sad. It was nothing that Elkanah could do. Nothing her husband can do. And sometimes that'll bother us more than anything. We'll be in our feelings because we can't fix her. But sometimes it ain't nothing you can do. Sometimes she just gotta cry out. Verse 19, and they rose up in the morning early and worshiped before the Lord, and returned and came to their house to Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah, his wife. Once her conscience changed. When they got back, he took care of his rib. And the Lord remembered her. All right. The Lord blessed that seed. The Lord put a little spark in that. The Lord woke those eggs. This is miraculous. This is a miraculous birth here. All right. As Elkanah is knowing his wife, the Lord remembered Hannah. Remembered her. Remember what she petitioned for. Remember how she cried out. And she went to that temple to do it. Wherefore it came to pass when the time was come after Hannah had conceived, that she bare a son, and called his name Samuel, saying, because I have asked him of the Lord. All right, what does Samuel mean? What does Samuel? I mean name of the Lord. I think I looked it up. Looked it up early. It means name of the Lord. We'll look it up again just to make sure. Yeah, his name is El. All right. His name is El. Hold on. Where was that? Because I've asked. Verse 21. And the man Elkanah and all his house went up to offer unto the Lord the yearly sacrifice and his vow. All right, again, another year. But Hannah went not up, for she said unto her husband, I will not go up until the child be weaned, and then I will bring him, that he may appear before the Lord, and there abide forever. I'm gonna wait till he get of age. Once we wean him off the breast, we gonna go up there that year, and we gonna leave him up there. And Elkanah, her husband, said unto her, do what seemeth thee good. Again, we seen that Abraham said the same thing with Hagar. Abraham said the same thing to Sarah dealing with the situation with Hagar. He told Sarah, do what you want to do with your handmaid. Do what seemeth thy good. Hagar was like, man, Sarah was like, man, this sister gotta go. Her son cannot get the inheritance. Abraham didn't want to say, hey man, do what you seemeth. It's good. Tarry until thou have weaned him. Only the Lord established his word. So the woman abode and gave her son suck until she weaned him. And when she had weaned him, she took him up with her with 3 bullocks and 1 ephah of flour. That's a measurement. And a bottle of wine, and brought him unto the house of the Lord in Shiloh. And the child was young. And they slew a bullock and brought the child to Eli. And she said, "O my Lord, as thy soul liveth, my Lord, I am the woman that stood by thee here, praying unto the Lord. For this child I prayed, and the Lord have given me my petition." And again, this is again a testimony. Coming back, showing Eli, who was sitting on that post, looking at this woman that he thought was drunken, that was in great sorrow. And that the last thing he said to that woman is, may the God of the, may the Lord, bless you and give you your petition and give you and hear you and give and grant you what you've been, what you was hoping for. And she comes back with this young son, showing that the Lord is faithful, showing that the Lord is true. And then I'm hand them to you. You remember me? And the Lord have given me my petition when I asked of him. Write that down. The Lord will give you your petition if you ask of him. Verse 28, it says, "Therefore also I have lent him to the Lord. As long as he liveth, he shall be lent to the Lord." And he worshiped the Lord there. All right. And so she gave him to the Lord. The first fruits of her womb. The first fruits of her womb. The only fruits. Her only begotten. She gave to the Lord. What am I doing here? We're going to go to the next chapter, y'all. Bear with us. One more chapter, y'all. One more. Usually I could just First Samuel 2. Oh man, come on. Okay. And Hannah prayed. All right, you see here Hannah's song of thanksgiving in Luke. All right, Mary said, "My soul doeth magnify the Lord, the spirit of rejoiceth. The spirit have rejoiceth in God, my Savior, for he have regarded the low estate of his handmaiden. For behold, henceforth all generations shall call me blessed. For his mighty hand have done to me great things, and holy is his name. And his mercy is upon them that fear him from generation to generation. He have showed strength in his arm. He have scattered the proud in the imagination of their hearts. He have put down the mighty from the seats and exalted them of a low degree to a height." So this is a correlating verse here. You can write that down. Luke 1:46 through 45 through 55 rather. But this is Hannah's prayer here. All right, Hannah, and this is how important these words are carried on. Like we seeing it in Luke later. Her words continued for generations. We carried this thing orally through generations. These aren't small events. These are events that we chronicled to rehearse forever. 1 Samuel chapter 2, Hannah prayed and said, "My heart rejoiceth in the Lord. My horn is exalted in the Lord. My mouth is enlarged over my enemies, because I rejoice in thy salvation. There is none holy as the Lord, for there is none beside thee. Neither is there any rock like our Lord, like our God. Talk no more exceedingly proud. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth, for the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. The bows of the mighty men are broken, and they that stumble are girded with strength. They that were full have hired out themselves for bread." All right, those who had it, those who were stuffed, now they out here trying to work. They selling themselves for bread. "And they that were hungry seized, and so that the barren have borne seven, and she that have many children is waxed feeble." That's what He raises up, he bringeth down, he humbleth the proud. The Lord killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. The Lord maketh the poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. He raises up the poor out of the dust. He lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. Again, this is Hannah's prayer. He will keep the feet of his saints. He will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail. The adversaries of the Lord shall be broken to pieces. Out of heaven shall the thunder upon them. Out of heaven shall he thunder upon them. The Lord shall judge the ends of the earth, and he shall give strength unto his king, and exalt the horn of his anointed. And Elkanah went to Ramah to his house, and the child did minister unto the Lord before Eli the priest. And after she finished that prayer, Eli took Samuel, and Elkanah and and his family, his two ribs and their family, went back to their house. All right, sins of Eli's sons. Verse 12, it says, now the sons of Eli were sons of Belial. Man, we was talking about the Belial, the sons, just ad hominem for just being wicked, the sons of Satan. These jokers were terrible. They were demons. They knew not the Lord. And the priest's custom with the people was that when any man offered sacrifice, the priest's servant came while the flesh was seething mean boiling, with a flesh hook of 3 teeth in his hand, and he stuck it into a pan or a kettle or a cauldron or a pot. All that the flesh hook brought up, the priest took for himself. So they did in Shiloh unto all the Israelites that came hither. All right, so if you got a boiling pot. Imagine having you a pot roast. Imagine having a pot roast in the pressure cooker. And a joker took one of them little claws. Y'all ever seen them machines that got them little claw? You put your little money in there, you trying to get a little teddy bear, and that little claw come down. This joker done took one of these little claw hands, came in there in your pot roast. And usually that meat sitting in the center, and I dug into that meat, boom, with the claw, and pulled out the meat, pulled out about 75% of your chuck roast, and then now you left with that little stuff that's just hanging around. It's all mashed up in the potatoes and the onions, and you just left with that. But the big chunk of the meat, this joker done took it out. That's what they were doing. Okay, verse 15. Also, before they burnt the fat, the priest's servants came and said to the man that sacrificed, give flesh to roast for the priest. Before they burned the fat, before they did the burnt offering, they're like, you know what? Let me give me a little piece. Let me cut off this little slab right here so we can roast. We gonna barbecue this part right here. We gonna get this to the priest so we can eat this little part right here. This little ribeye of that bullock. Get that little part where them ribeyes come off at. Let me cut that out. It's a part. If you ever roasted a whole lamb, it's that little part. It's a part on the back, man. Not as a priest, but as the one who labored and is cooking this whole lamb. That little part right there in that back, just to check it, I'm gonna cut from that little piece, and that's where the lamb chops come from. The ribs come up like that, and then it's chopped. That chopped meat goes down like that, That chopped meat goes down like that. These jokers is, before they roast the lamb, they cutting out that little piece right there. Let me cut cut that out just to give something for us to roast later. We need something to roast, brother. To get us by. Don't rob God's house. So they would do that, and then they would burn the offering. Give for the priests. Give flesh to the to roast for the priests. But for he will not have sodden flesh of thee, but raw. I don't want you to boil it first. I ain't want it boiled. We need to put this thing directly on it. And ain't nothing like that fire. Ain't nothing like a barbecue. Ain't no better way to cook that flesh than over fire. Verse 16, and if any man said unto him, let them not fail to burn the fat presently, and then take as much as thy soul desireth, then he will answer them, nay, but thou shalt give it me now, or if not, I will take it by force. These jokers, Hophany and Phineas is saying, listen, bro, if somebody tried to check them, like, man, listen, bro, we ain't supposed to do that like that, bro. It's written in the law. We ain't supposed to do it. You ain't supposed to do it like that. You got to burn all of it to the Lord. Then you can take whatever you want from it. That joker like, bro, you going to give me that or we going to take it by force, man. That's how important it is to them. You got to understand, in those biblical times, there wasn't much else. You know what I'm saying? What else they got? They ain't like they got cars and all of that stuff. They trying to. Nah, a good meal is kind of like it's luxury. That's like the luxury, right? You know what I'm saying? That's like having a Lamborghini. It's like, man, I'm gonna take it by force, bro. Having them spices and all of that, this stuff, it was valuable back then. It's almost worthless now. We don't count it as nothing, man. We throw away salt packets. Jokers you go to fast food, they put the salt packet, man. Jokers throw that stuff away. Man, I want this salt and pepper. Man, jokers was dying for salt and pepper back then. All the season, all the sacrifices had to be seasoned with that salt. That's another lesson also. The covenant of salt. Verse 17, wherefore the sin of the young men was very great before the Lord, for men abhorred the offering of the Lord. They detested the offering of the Lord. But Samuel ministered before the Lord, being a child, girded with a linen ephod. Moreover, his mother made a little coat and brought it to him from year to year, when she came up with her husband to offer the yearly sacrifice. And Eli blessed Elkanah and his wife. All right, Eli blessed him and his wife and said, the Lord give the seed of this woman for the loan which is lent to the Lord. And they went unto their own home. And the Lord visited Hannah so that she conceived. All right, the Lord again gets involved. This is miraculous. All right, the Lord visited Hannah so that she conceived and bare 3 sons and 2 daughters, and the child Samuel grew before the Lord. Again, she gave that, and this is a lesson. This is also can be a lesson for those that are teaching for first fruits. Her having the faith to give her only begotten, and then seeing an increase by 5. 3 sons, 2 daughters. And the child grew up before the Lord. Now Eli was very old, and look who's mentioned here, Hannah. Penninah is not mentioned in a good light. We didn't hear nothing else about Penninah. Nobody's singing about Penninah. Nobody's quoting her. All right, and so even if sisters are in these situations, man, the Lord's looking upon you. You ain't gotta, cry out to the Lord. He see what's going on, and he loved to help them underdog. Even him helping Hagar, even when she got kicked out of there, the Lord still came through. Verse 22. Now Eli was very old and heard all of the sons and heard all that his sons did unto Israel, and how they lay with the women that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. You know, that way you can't even have them near. Hophni and Phinehas, man, they in there smashing the young women that was coming to the tabernacle, man. Eli seeing these folks, you know, he was out there hanging on the post of the temple. He seeing these little young sisters out here, knowing what's going on. And he said unto them, why do ye such things? For I hear of your evil dealings by all this people. Whole neighborhood knew. All of Israel knew how wicked these jokers were. Nay, my sons, for it is not good, it is no good report that I hear. Ye make the Lord's people to transgress. If one man sin against another, the judge shall judge him. But if a man sin against the Lord, who shall entreat him? Notwithstanding, they hearken not unto the voice of their father, because the Lord will slay them. What is it saying there? All right. Saying that, you know, when you have a sin against another, when you sin against another man, you know, the judge, you know, you got a judge there that can, you know, some of the judges can judge that situation and see whether, you know, weigh the evidence out, you get with the witnesses and see, and he can judge that matter. But when you sin against the Lord, ain't nobody finna vouch for you with that. You ain't finna bring no witnesses up for that. Ain't no witnesses needed, all that foolishness. The Most High gonna judge it and deal with it. It just is what it is. All right. And even with him saying all of that, they still wouldn't listen. Why? Because the Lord already done made up in his mind he finna kill them. They heart already locked and loaded. They are finna die. Ain't nothing you can tell them at this point. It's over. You should have been said something. And sometimes that can be noted also. It don't matter what you telling the joker. Sometimes, and you can repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. But once the Most High done place judgment on it, he's not going to allow them to repent. See, Hophni and Phinehas, at this point of it, it's over. You're not allowed to repent. All right, notwithstanding, they hearken not unto the voice of their father, because the Lord will slay them. He already done marked them for death. Verse 26, and the child Samuel grew on and was in favor both with the Lord and also with men. And there came a man of God unto Eli and said unto him, now another prophet is coming to Eli. Well, a prophet's coming to Eli, the priest. Thus saith the Lord, did I plainly appear unto the house of thy father when they were in Egypt in Pharaoh's house? All right, he giving the direct word. He says, and did I choose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to offer upon mine altar, to burn incense, to wear an ephod before me? And did I give unto the house of thy father all the offerings made by fire of the children of Israel? Then I lay it out for him. Didn't I choose him over all the other tribes? This is just like the Deuteronomy. Didn't I choose you above all nations? See? And this same thing can fall unto you. It can fall unto me. It can fall unto us. Didn't I choose you? Didn't I choose you? And read that again, 28. And did I choose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to offer upon my altar, to burn incense, to wear ephod before me? And did I give unto thy house of thy father all the offerings made by fire of the children of Israel? I gave the offerings to you. Make sure that you're going to eat. I already know how wicked these jokers is, so you're going to always have something to eat. Wherefore kick ye at my sacrifice and at my offering. Then why are you bucking at my sacrifice? Why are you ruining? Why are you abhorring my sacrifices? Why are you making these things detestable? Why are you stealing from the people, which I have commanded in my habitation? And honorest thou, watch this, and honor thy sons above me. To make yourself fat with the chiefest of all the offerings of Israel, my people. You have made yourself fat. You know, we got people calling themselves priests today, making themselves fat with the offerings of the people of Israel. Be careful. Be careful. And honor thy sons above me. Write that down. You know, Christ said that too, that, you know, he that honor of his or put his mother and son and father before me is not worthy of me. And this is an example of it. You know, he didn't give correction to his sons. He seen what they were doing to the Lord. He seen what they were doing to God's people. And because he was their sons, he didn't bring down that hammer. He didn't do the correction. Now the Lord got to get in here. And the Lord got to get involved. And this is the thing, man. You better get your children in order. For the Lord has to, you know. And sometimes you got to give them to the Lord. You know, hey, go on whoop them. Go on whoop them. Don't jump in the way. Go on whoop them, Lord. And I know that's hard. I know that's hard to do. Who wants to see their child suffer? No one wants to see that, but that is, you know, that is a part of love. Sometimes love is allowing jokers to suffer, allowing, you know, butterflies. I know this analogy about the butterfly, and when it gets into the cocoon, if you help that butterfly get out of that cocoon, if that can, you see that butterfly struggling, you be like, you know what? Let me just open that cocoon up. And when that butterfly comes out, it's going to be deformed. Because part of the building, part of the structuring of that butterfly, part of giving it the strong wings, strong enough for it to come out of there and be able to fly, is that struggle. Is that struggle. And we'll go over there and open the cocoon up trying to get it. And that's what we do. And then we deforming our kids. We're handicapping our children. And this is why every generation is weaker. Because every generation has less struggle. But don't put your children before the Lord. Don't do that. All right. That's what the lesson we're gleaning from this. I told you there's a lot of lessons here in this. We almost done, y'all. Wherefore the Lord of God of Israel saith, I said indeed that thy house in the house of thy father would walk before me forever. I said that. I said y'all were going to walk before me forever. I said because of the darn courage of Phineas stabbing this joker. I said, man, you know what? Your fathers is going to be here forever. Aaron priesthood going to be my high priest forever. That's what I said. He said, indeed, that thy house and the house of thy father should walk before me forever. But now, the Lord saith, be it far from me. See, y'all get into this, oh, the Lord don't change. You don't know what you're talking about. The Lord attributes don't change. He's always going to be merciful. He's always going to be gracious. He's always going to be just. He's always going to be a steer. He's always going to be a man of war, a God of war. But, you know, that don't mean he won't change his mind. That don't mean he won't say, you know what? Nah, I ain't fooling with these jokers. And a lot of you are banking on that. You're banking on that, but we seeing it right here. I know what I said forever, but put that far from me, man. Get that thought even away. Push that away from what I'm talking about. Watch this. But now the Lord saith, be it far from me. For them that honor me, I will honor. And they that despise me shall be lightly esteemed. All right, put that. I'm gonna honor who honor me. You don't honor your part of the deal. I ain't honoring my part of it. That's too the that whole Deuteronomy 28. You don't keep your part, I ain't keeping my part. If you do these things, you'll be this. If not, then you're gonna be lightly esteemed. 31. Behold, the days come that I will cut off thine arm and the arm of thy father's house, and there shall not be an old man in thy house. All right, nobody's gonna grow up of age or full age. And thou shalt see an enemy in my habitation, and in all the wealth which God shall give Israel. All right, you're gonna see an enemy in my habitation, in this tabernacle. I'm gonna replace you. All right, and you're gonna be envious of these people, and you're gonna be envious of the wealth that I'm gonna give the rest of Israel. And there shall not be an old man in thy house forever. None of your folks are gonna grow up a full age. All of them gonna die violent deaths. And the man of thine, whom I shall not cut off from mine altar, shall be consumed. Shall be to consume thy eyes, and to grieve thine heart. All right. And so those that I don't kill immediately, they just gonna be there so you can see them die slowly. You can see them choke on their blood. It's just there to grieve your heart, to grieve your eyes. I want you to see it. I want you to suffer. Even the ones that I leave alive for a little while. And all the increase of thine house in thine house shall die in the flower of their age. And this shall be a sign unto thee that shall come upon thy two sons, Hophni and Phinehas. And one day they shall both of them. And one day they shall die, both of them. And I will raise up my faithful priest. I will raise up a faithful priest that should do according to that which is in my heart and in my mind. All right, I'm replacing you, and I'm going to raise up a faithful priest. I know what I told you. I said your family going to be here forever. But put that far from me. I'm going to raise up another, a faithful priest that shall do according to that which is in mine heart and in my mind, and I will build him a sure house, and he shall walk before mine anointed forever. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left in thine house shall come and crouch to him for a piece of silver, and a morsel of bread, and shall say, put me, I pray thee, into one of the priest's office, that I might eat a piece of bread. So this joker gonna be in the office. We can get y'all up out of there, and y'all gonna be begging. Your family gonna be trying to beg to get into one of these priest's offices just so they can eat a piece of bread. It's gonna be hard for them out here. And now I'm sitting here thinking about it. Because the Levites didn't really have no inheritance like that, them being put out of there, it's gonna make their life hard. They probably gonna have to sell themselves to one of their brothers and work for him. But it's probably hyperbole, hyperbolic language. Just showing them, man, I'm about to destroy y'all jokers, man. I'm about to destroy you. I'm about to make it hard for you. And you see the same language, where 10 women cooking some bread or something. I forget that verse, but just the element of the starvation. You're gonna be so starving that you do this, and you're gonna be so hungry and in such famine that you gotta do this, and you gotta eat your children, and it's hyperbolic, but some of it does happen. We did, in a lot of those cases, well, not a lot, but in some of those cases we got to that, it was that extreme. And we see those things play out in the text. But I just wanted to read those first 2 chapters for y'all. Again, I think, just the Torah portions that's going through certain things, just reading. Everything will have to be with us bouncing all over the place. But more so, I think it just helps better just to read and make sure we know what we're reading. And then we go on to the next chapters and so forth, so forth. Pray this thing was edifying. Y'all be blessed. We'll see y'all on the next one. Shalom.